Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reality Writes. I am author Ellie Alexander, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things writerish, bookish, readerish, and anything else that's on our mind. And I am here with the
Tech guy. Hello.
guy.
Hello.
How goes it?
It's going pretty well. Yeah. It's a good day. How about you?
It's a good day to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's always a good day to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. What are we talking about today?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I think we're going to talk a little bit about something sparked from an email that I just recently received from a reader, and it seemed like a good idea to sort of tackle the topic of readers behaving badly and to kick it off, this particular message that I got from a reader.
Oh, a good message?
Not exactly.
I know the answer to that. I just wanted to see if,
Yeah. We're going to be busting some myths today in response to this particular message that I got, and then maybe we'll dive into a couple more. We'll see how it shakes out and how much time we end up having.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay, so I got an email from a reader who shall remain nameless, and I will rephrase it too, just in case. But because we don't want to throw shade, and I think a lot of this comes from misconceptions about how the publishing process works. But I received an email from a reader saying, basically, how dare I charge $17 for my book? It was like, oh,
Damn.
ouch. Okay.
Wow.
But I think it's important to talk about because this is one of those things that writers do not have control over.
Yeah, I mean, not like definitely different levels of control, but at the end of the day, like nobody has 100% control over it because and this may come as a shock to some of the darlings out there. It costs money to publish books.
I know. It costs a lot of money. And so let's break it down a little bit and let's talk about sort of the different paths to publication and the publishing process and how that works. Because for this particular series, they were talking about the new secret bookcase mystery that just came out. And I am with a traditional publisher for this. So as the author, I literally have zero say, none whatsoever. So anyone who is in that realm in terms of how books are priced, print production, that entire process is on the hands of the publishing house. And the reality is, like you said, books are really expensive to print. And we have to go back in time. That book, first of all, took me months to write. Right?
Right.
And
you're the only one that touches the book, right?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Right.
And then it goes through extensive. At the publishing house, there are editors who go through the book and provide editorial feedback. And then there are copy editors and page proofers.
Cover artists.
Designer.
Yep.
What'd you say?
Cover artists. Yeah.
Cover artists. Yes.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole team that works on distribution. So there's a whole team that has relationships with bookstores and goes to bookstores and makes sure that bookstores know about the new books coming out. So, and then there is just the physical cost. This is also, I should say, the caveat here was this was for the new version of the print book. There's the cost of print and paper,
right.
All the designs, shipping.
Shipping is a huge one that never gets factored in because I don't think people, and this is no fault of their own, like who, they don't know how the sausage is made, right? But that all is exactly why you should maybe ask the question a little bit, or make your point a little bit more politely. But so shipping, you have to consider the fact that the paper and materials and ink and everything need to be shipped to the printer. The printer prints the books. The printer packages up the books. The printer ships the books to a distribution centers around the country, around the world. Then those books are shipped from the distribution centers to bookstores or to customers directly through online channels. But then from the bookstore, then sometimes the books are even shipped to customers from there. So now you're talking like that book's been shipped, or the material, starting with the materials, has been shipped 4 times.
Yeah.
4 times. And I was shocked just the other day. Actually, you can attest to this. I was shipping out some sticker orders, and I was like, when did the price of stamps go up to 74 cents? Like, I didn't, what happened? Like, I swear every 3 months, shipping gets more expensive. And somebody somewhere is making a lot of money off this. But nonetheless, that all has to be factored into the cost of a book. All of that.
And the same goes for the process of printing, because paper is more expensive now. All the printing presses that deliver books are not here in the U.S., so there is a tariff factor going on. Like, trust me, as an
Oh,
author, I
said a
want
bad word.
many. What's that?
I said I was just I was being a jerk. I said you said a bad word.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Barb on down.
I know. I've got my shirt on today, so
Was this? Let's go. Um, as an author, of course, I want the books to be as reasonably priced as possible, but I don't have control over it. And at the end of the day, like, when how many people have touched it, and how much time I have spent as a labor of love putting that book together. At the same time, like, it's not an outrageous ask. And there are also lots of other ways that you can get my books. Libraries, there are other alternative methods from buying the book. So
right.
there's also that.
Legal alternative methods, because there are other methods too, but no one benefits from people doing that.
No.
That's traditional publishing. Talk a little bit about indie publishing, because you do have some control over it on the indie side.
However, yeah, so even on the indie side, let's say you're going, you as the author are then the publisher yourself. It seems like, oh, hey, that's great. I now can set the book at $5 because I am the publisher. Still not true,
Nope.
because all of the same things apply. The book still needs to be edited. You need to pay for a cover designer. You're paying for actually, like, binding the book and the paper and the printing and the delivery, again, to distribution centers. And all of the indie platforms for publishing have set prices. So you as the author can go in and go, okay, well, I know the book is going to be, this size, and, it's going to be about 300 pages. So you can sort of make a guesstimate before you go. But again, we're not talking about, like, even profit margins of 50% most of the time on print, because it's just so expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully this isn't coming as a surprise to many people, because this is true of literally anything that you can buy, whether online or in a store. This type of thing happens where you start with the materials, and they cost a lot, and then you move on into the manufacturing or the printing or the design or whatever. That costs a lot, plus the time. Like, that's true of both traditional and indie
Right.
published books. Authors spend an enormous amount of time writing the book. And so I guess my whole thing is, like, I don't want this to come across as like, oh, here's an author complaining about, readers who are complaining about expensive books, because that's not it. It like, we understand that books can be expensive. And if there was something that we could do about that, you know, sure, we would, but there's only so much that can be done. And on the traditional side, as you explained, it's zero. And then on the indie side, it's really not that much more than zero, honestly, because if somebody's writing to make a living, they have to price the book accordingly. And it just, I don't know. It gets me all riled up when
Good.
people complain about it, because, like you said, the number one thing that drives me bonkers about this complaint in particular is there are free options to get a
Right.
book.
Yes.
You can go to a library. You can go down to your library and you can get the book. Do you have to wait sometimes? Yes, but it's free. It's free. So like wait or pay the $16. I mean, that's like, I mean, it'd be one thing if you couldn't, if there was no other way to get the book and you had to pay that. And trust me, everybody is in a different place economically, financially. We all have things that, that we're dealing with in that realm right now. Some more than others. And so I am happy that there are things like libraries out there still. And please, I'm crossing everything. Let's make sure they stay, because um, it's just such a wonderful resource and it's
And that
free.
brings up that brings up a second point, which is, most of the time, the ebook is less expensive. It's another less
Right.
expensive option because you still, with an ebook, have me writing the book, you have all of the editorial staff touching
Right.
it, you have the whole process of cover art and design, but you take away physically printing the book and distribution, and so most of the time those ebook prices tend to be a bit lower as well, which
Right.
is great.
Although,
And
but oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, no, and to your point, I was also gonna say, I love getting so much of this is the tone in which a message is sent. So if one of you darlings emails me and is like, "Gosh, I don't understand why the book price went up." Well, totally. Let's chat about that. But don't come at me and be
Right.
like, "How dare you
Right.
raise the price of your book?" Like, I didn't. I don't want to. No
Right.
one wants to. The publishing houses don't want to for the most part either. Like, they want reading to be as accessible as possible.
Well, and I guess that's an important point. That most authors, all authors, I can't speak for all authors, but I know a lot of authors through
I'm gonna
you.
speak for all authors. Let's
I
just do it. Like,
I would just
I,
say
Ellie
th-
Alexander, will
there
speak
aren't
for every
right.
author on the planet right now. No.
There aren't any authors out there who I know that would like to make their book less accessible. Right.
Right. No.
So they're not like the whole pricing thing is just like, again, I think that's an important message. Don't come at the authors. Like they're not trying to make the book harder for you to get. The authors don't make more money if the book is more expensive either.
Nope.
That's the other thing because listen, I've worked in marketing and advertising my whole life, and if you make something more expensive, everybody thinks, oh, well, now they're just making a bigger margin and they're making that much more money. But in general, especially for lower priced items, the higher the price point, the lower the conversion rate. And so it all equals out. It's not like if you jack the price up $4 a book, you're going to sell the same number of books as you would if it was $4 cheaper. You're going to sell fewer books. So you're not going to make more money in the long run.
Exactly. Well, and I keep saying this, but we are going to do an episode of book math at some point in time. In fact, we got to just put that on our reality rates agenda because I think it would be fascinating to peel back the curtain and show readers like, oh, okay, like with some hard numbers, like here's how it all like inks out for authors. And spoiler alert, it's not much. Like
Right. Right.
that $17, most authors are making like, oh, maybe 15% of that. And then if you have an agent, your agent is taking a cut of that. So it's not like I'm sitting here like, bah, ha, ha, ha,
Oh,
got
yeah.
you. Like, yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. So yeah, tone is always good. Should we go over a few other anonymous messages that I've received lately?
Well, yeah, we're on this topic. I mean, you know me, I have a special folder in my email for these that come in through the website. And one day I'm going to write a book about the stuff that people say to authors because it's not always nice. And the thing is, like, we do this anonymously because in all honesty here, even though these people piss me off time and time again, I know a lot of them don't mean it this way, but so many people write, the internet has like destroyed personal communication because so many people write messages without considering tone. And so they come across like, if I say, how are you doing today? Versus how are you doing today?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right. Like, so personal communication is key here, but people just don't. Yeah. So let's go through some other ones. And then I've got some tips for readers who want to write in and actually get responses from authors that we'll cover at the end.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of my baseline as a writer, and I think this is important for any of my darlings out there who, are writing themselves or maybe new to writing and just stepping into author space. Like, it's okay to put up boundaries. Like, if somebody comes at me with a really negative, mean message, you don't get a response from me. Like,
Right.
you don't get my time, like, because that's headspace for me to respond. If you come at me with any other question, I might not respond immediately, but I try to respond to all messages that I get. So that does go back to tone and the way that you ask something. Okay, this one comes in, I don't want to say often, but every few months I'll get a message along these lines, which is, Ellie, I just received my book and it's damaged. Like,
Oh,
the
right.
corner is turned down, like there's this something wrong with the spine, the box came damaged. I need you to fix it for me. I don't actually make the books. I can't do that. Which tracks back to the first message of readers behaving badly. And this one, maybe it's not behaving badly because for the most part, these are usually pretty nice. But again,
Sometimes they're not, though. Sometimes they're
most
not.
of the time they are. Most of
Yeah.
the time they are. And this goes back to trying to dispel some myths about what authors do. I do have a stack of books in my office here that I get to use for giveaways that come from the and I try to share with you darlings whenever I can. But otherwise, I don't make the book physically. I write it. And I don't distribute the book. So there is nothing that I can do if your book comes damaged. You should definitely get a refund. So contact the bookstore, whatever retailer you purchased it from, and they will send you a new book. But
Yeah.
sorry, like, I got nothing for you.
Right. And the one thing I will say about this that is unfortunate, because this goes back to the shipping costs that we kind of covered in the first one. The absolute cheapest way to ship a book in the United States is a service called Media Mail through the U.S. Postal Service, and even that's like $5 now. I mean, it's not cheap, but that's the cheapest way to ship it. That is also the way that shipping a book that way, you guarantee that that book is going to be abused, like really abused during shipping. I mean, you're going to see people throwing it across the mailroom. And I apologize to any U.S. Postal Service listeners out there, employees out there, but it's true. It's true. Books, media mail packages are not treated well. And so it's going to happen. It's hard to package something because I know this. It's actually one of the reasons, honestly, and this is honest. Honestly, this is one of the reasons that I have cut way back on reading paper books, is because I cannot stand a book where like the corners are caved in or they're all bent or something. It every time it takes me out of the story because I'm reading and I know this is a problem. I know this is all me. But it's going to happen, and there's just nothing authors can do about it. Well, there's nothing the companies that ship it can do about it. I mean, you can only package things so well, and then things happen.
Right.
When a book is traveling hundreds of miles.
If you go back to the bookstore and you say that you ordered it from, they're going to send you a new copy. Like,
Yeah.
your odds are way better going that path than emailing an author and saying, "Hey, my book arrived damaged."
Right. I mean, your business relationship is between yourself and the store you bought the book from, not
Mhm.
yourself and the author who wrote the book.
Yes.
So
Um,
that's true.
and then to tag team on this one, the other thing that pops in on semi frequent occasions are messages about there being some kind of printing error in the book.
Oh,
Right.
So like page 32 was missing, or in fact, I just got a copy of one of the Sloane Krause books, and it's completely upside down. It was printed completely upside down. Uh,
Well, the cover was put on upside down.
that
Yeah.
was what I
Yeah.
exactly, but, like, it's upside down. It doesn't
right.
work unless you're
Right.
gonna read an upside down book, which I know you don't want to, check out.
Oh, that would freak me out. Yeah.
Again, as the author, absolutely nothing I can do about that. Sorry, like, you should hold on to that because that's kind of like a cool, funky version. Go back to wherever you've purchased the book, or sometimes, like, that's been known to happen with library books because libraries do order so many copies of books,
Right.
and they
Right.
can't vet everything. So I had a reader
Right.
reach out and was like, "Gosh, I got this book from the library, and there's, like, a whole chunk of it missing." Like, take that back to the library.
Yeah.
They'll order a new one for sure.
The librarians wanna know that because they spent money on that book
Yeah.
and they expected to get a real book, and they'll rectify that situation. But you actually, uh, said, you talking about, having control over this, so it's like a different issue, but same resolution, right? And but the one thing I wanted to point out was because you just mentioned that like the library can't check every single book, right? That's true of indie authors too, because we've done indie publishing. And we have several of your titles that we have published, ourselves. And when you get a box or boxes of like 200 copies of a book, we can't. It's just we don't have time to go through and like thumb through every page and make sure that like, oh, chapter 6, chapter 7, how many pages did chapter 8 have? Okay, yes, check, everything. I mean, I know when you go to like sign a book, you will check and make sure it's not printed upside down or up, we've had a few where the cutting was off. So like the
Margin.
top 3 lines of the page had been whacked off, and there was a huge, like, white space at the bottom. Yeah, gap. Thank you. But that's going to happen, because there are indie authors out there who are publishing and shipping thousands of books themselves, and they're a one-person operation or maybe a two-person operation, and they just can't check everything. So just like, yes, it's disappointing to get a book that is not perfect, but just take it in stride and be nice and contact whoever you bought it from, and they'll take care of you.
Not the author.
Not the author.
Don't reach out to
Not
the
the
author.
author.
They can't do anything. And especially on this particular topic, because I did have a little bit of a contentious exchange with one reader about this, and it was for my Big Shot Mysteries, and one of them came printed wrong. And they were like, "Well, you need to reach out to your publisher and let them know that this is an error." I'm like, "It's not an error. This happens because, to track back again to our very first thing, the printing presses where these books are printed, they are printing thousands upon thousands of books every day. And so sometimes errors happen. Sometimes a wrong cover gets slapped on. They put on the cover upside down, these margins. Like, so this isn't like, oh, hey, I found a grammatical error in your work. This is like, no, this is a production problem. And it's 9 times out of 10, just a one off that then the publishing house and or the bookstore or the library is just going to destroy, recycle, and buy a new one for you.
Right. Right. Well, and books like print books go through different printings too. So not only is the printer printing thousands of books, thousands of unique books, thousands of copies of thousands of unique books, but once a book goes through its print run, it's done and the files get set aside. Well, in between like the first and second print run, new machines might be put into the lineup. Machines might have settings adjusted or whatever. And so when the second print run happens, the book might actually look different than it did the first time. And you've had that happen with like, you did a social post on like, I think there were like 4 different shades of purple on Fudge and Jury. Yeah. So, I mean,
I had all the covers lined up at one point. I should share that again for any darling who haven't seen it, because it's, I mean, it's the exact same book, but it's just in great. It's in multiple print runs, which is lovely because it means that book has been out to a lot of you to read. But each subsequent printing, the color changes slightly on the cover because of exactly what the deck I just said.
yeah.
Settings, all those things.
Ink, like they're using a different ink, like it just, yeah. Anyway.
Sometimes the level of gloss on the cover changes. So something will be like a higher gloss for a first print and then it gets more matte, or vice versa. I had a reader message me, this was a while ago, about that because they had their whole collection on the shelves and one of the books was glossier and they were like, "What's this for me?" Again, I can't. And actually, in that case, short of going back and finding like one of the like a first print, you're probably not going to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Move on.
I agree. There's nothing you as the author can do about that, but I do feel that reader's pain. That would drive me nuts.
Yes, I know. Size differences that's come up with the series.
Oh boy. Oh, don't open that can of worms.
I have to open that can of worms because I have them sitting right here on my shelf, darlings. I'm taking out Donut Disturb and Bake Borrow and Steal, which were midway through the Bake Shop series. And for some reason, they decided to do these in what they were calling Max Market. So they are bigger than the rest of the series, but just by a little bit, just enough to really irritate you when you look at your bookshelf.
Well, not even bigger in one dimension, right? They're taller and a little bit wider.
Harrison, for anyone who's watching, sorry to darlings at home, but like, oops, I gotta go this way. Just like, slightly enough to.
Yeah.
I got a lot of reader email back in the day about these two sizes. Again, I didn't even know they were happening. I was completely out of my control.
Well, and this is a problem that can be experienced by indie readers too, because sure, this is something, again, as a traditionally published author, you have no control over. If the publisher is like, hey, we're going to do this one, and it's going to be a diamond-shaped book, that's, you're like, okay, that's not going to sell at all, but you have no control over it. But indie authors can run into this too, because again, they're at the they're controlled by whatever sizes are offered by the publisher that they're using, the publishing service. So whether it's Ingram or it's Amazon or anybody, those companies might decide that a certain size is just not profitable for them, and they might decide that we're not going to offer this one anymore, and suddenly mid-series your book size has changed. There's just nothing the author can do about that.
No. So don't smell the author.
You can't print these books at home. You just can't, I can't, my Cricut machine, there's no way. I mean, sure, technically yes, but then people would be complaining about waiting a year and a half to get a book that's been finished. And
yeah. Okay, I have one more, and this is definitely a reader behaving badly, and I will again, disguise, as I do in the world of mystery, exactly what they said. But this was right after I announced that the Meg Read series, Meg Read Investigates, is being re-released and is back in print again. And this reader wrote a very mean-spirited email message about how basically I like updating it was just to make it become AI, and that it was like a big money grab and there's never a reason to republish a book. Well, okay, these books have been out of print. Like, they don't exist in the world.
right.
And I also love and adore this series. And even though it was my first series and I learned a lot in the process of writing it, like, I'm super proud of the fact that that was my first mystery series that I wrote, and I'm bringing Meg back in a holiday rom-com, so it'd be real sucky if you can't have any history about her, because these books don't exist in the world in any version, ebook or print anymore, because they're out of print.
Right.
This happens quite often in the world of publishing. I can name 10 or 15. Oh, I'm so worked up, I just choked. I can name 10 or 15 series myself that had gone out of print, and then when they come back, I'm like, yay, finally. So yeah. What? No.
Yeah, that's disappointing. And also, like, the whole money grab thing is just like that is clearly a reader who thinks all authors are millionaires.
Right.
Spoiler alert, not true.
Exactly.
Are there authors who are millionaires? Yes.
Sure.
But is that the majority of authors? Not even close. Not even close. Yeah. I mean, I think people would be, we won't get into that. That's like talking about your salary with coworkers and everything. It's just like not a good place to go, but not millionaires. Like I'm just gonna say it right now. You are a prolific author, and hey, I have no complaints about our life, but money grabs are not things that we are into.
No, no, not even close. And again, like if that message had come in a different form, I would have been much more receptive to having a conversation about it. Like, hey, like, why is this happening? Like, tell me more. Then no, there was none of it. It was just like, you're just
Right.
gonna make a spinella. Like, no, not at all. But again, I do think this goes back to at some point doing a book math, just to like, even if we're just talking like general numbers for most authors to show readers how that breaks down, because our goal always in reality writes is to break the fourth wall and show you a little bit how
Yeah.
the sausage is made so that then, maybe if you have an author who you're thinking about emailing and telling them not to charge $25 for their hardcover, you won't do it next time.
Right. Right. Well, I guess that leads us into the few tips that I have for readers out there who want to contact their authors.
Sounds good.
I'll start with number one for me, and this is true of anything you post online or just in general. The caps lock key, forget about it. Like, just that shouldn't even exist on a keyboard, because for those of you out there that don't know this, but this has been true since the beginning of time.
Time.
If you write something in all caps to someone, it means that you're yelling at them.
Yes, it does. Uh-huh.
So there's no way that and I do this because I see the messages that come through the website. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't even send the ones that are in all caps to her. She doesn't even see them
Yeah.
because I'm not even gonna give that person time. If you can't, like, just like, don't write in all caps. That is just like, even if you don't mean it like that, it's terrible to try and read a message in all capital letters. And I say this as somebody who writes in all capital letters in
I was just
handwriting.
gonna say, fun fact, darlings, the tech guy, when he writes in all caps.
But
Not
that's
an
why,
email, not
right.
anything you type, but when you handwrite
Yeah.
for our entire adult life, it is in all caps. So
But that's why I don't write in with my hands very often. That's why I'm a tech guy. Everything I write is electronic, and I use initial caps only, and I use punctuation because I'm old school like that. Journalism major, hey, advertising, copywriting. That's my game. So
I will say I appreciate in all caps, in moderation. If I'm trying to actually like really scream one or two words, maybe a
yeah,
brief sentence to
right.
highlight something, I'm okay with that. But if
Mhm.
you come at me in email with all caps and it's something negative, yeah, that's
Yeah, so that's number one. Number two would be like just make sure that whatever you're contacting the author about, you've like done your basic research. I mean, that's it. Like authors would be happy to interact with you with questions you have, or maybe suggestions you want to offer for things, whatever. But if you haven't done the basic research to know, like, emailing an author and saying, when is your next book coming out? I can guarantee you that that information is on the website. It's probably on the first page that you went to on the website before you got to the contact form. So things like that, just because authors are busy people. So are their tech guys or girls or women. Like, just, yeah. So those are my top two things. I'll leave it at that because I don't want this to be a rant, because this is all in good fun, right? This is like, we're like, no, we don't want to, we don't want reality rights to be just a complaint fest, but these are things that I feel like people need to know.
darlings, we're doing the important work of educating
We
you
are.
about how to not end up on Ellie's list of readers evoking badly. Because here's one more little inside tidbit. I do use some of these as a given for who I might want to kill in my next book.
It-
Oh, so maybe that'll make darlings go, I'm gonna try it.
Oh yeah, don't encourage this. Yeah. No, but I would love to hear from the darlings out there. Like like I'd love in the comments here, like share the wildest thing you've seen readers like say to authors, whether it's in a review or a message that's been posted or whatever, because I know they're out there. But that is the goal of the Reality Rights podcast, is to make this a better world for both readers and authors. So there you go.
We're taking it on. That's right. One podcast at a time. Love it.
And especially for any darlings who are writers, we would love to hear from you too. Like,
Oh yeah.
received any
Oh, yeah.
email from readers behaving badly, feel free to share in the comments, but don't name names.
Yeah, no names.
Because writers can behave badly too, and that's a little teaser for another podcast we'll do in the future.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Well, on that note, until next time, darlings, email me, please.
Until next time.